drive-by shooting seems to be broken. The weapon is invisible. Hello, I'm Stony VR. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to quickly talk about the problems you may come across when trying my GTA V VR Luke Ross with motion controls method. When you start the VR motion controller mod, you experience the head tracking sensitivity problem. We get rid of that problem by using Luke Ross's hotkeys. The F11 button activates the hotkeys. There are 5 important buttons. K, Clean VR mode, activates the Clean Luke Ross VR mode, but unlocks the vehicle camera. The vehicle turns without you. This wouldn't be a problem if you could use Snap Turn. O, Jank mode, the O button for Legacy mode. This is the mode that the VR mod was back in the days with Vorp X. I use this button to switch while driving or sniping. J, Horizontal Recenter Fix. If you accidentally press this button, you will change the horizon just by turning the snap. Recentering will not work correctly. This is not VR anymore. Numpad 0 is for positional tracking, or in this case, responsible for tracking of the motion controller weapons. The problem with this button is that it also opens and closes the motion controller VR mod menu. This means that in order to use these functions, when your weapon tracking is wrong, you need to press F11, then numpad 0, then F11, then numpad 0 again. This will fix the tracking problem. And backslash locks the HUD to the body. Turning physically also seems to not work flawlessly. The controls are very different by default. You steer with your entire hand, not your head orientation. You press the right thumbstick to change weapons, and you are forced to use teleport by default. However, many inputs still work. If you watch my old video, you will be able to use them. You can use the touch controller as a gamepad, and you can start using a mix of default gamepad input and the Steam VR mod. You can now decide which VR mod inputs you will really need. As you can see, I almost deactivated them all. With this method, you can also bind keyboard keys to the touch controller with XPatter, so I don't need to go to Dash, Virtual Desktop, or take off my headset every time. With XPatter, I have total control over everything.
Microphone check. This is probably the most important video. I should also talk about that. So this is an old VR mod and you need to grab the keyboard. You need to go to the keyboard. You need to take off the VR headset, probably. And in this case, you don't see the menu on the display. You only see the menu in VR, in VR headset because of Luke Ross. It's Luke Ross modus. And I need to stay in topic. I need to try to keep it short. I often talk too long about. So this Luke Ross, yeah, you need to go just short. I hope you have a Quest headset or you have a Vive Index headset so you can use your pass-through and you see the real life. When I go to my table, this is the edge of my play area, so I see the real life area, I see the table, and I can see my keyboard with my shiny keys because of LED keys nowadays. And I can clearly see when I go here to the edge of my play area, okay, at the moment I have a stationary circle here for recording session, but actually there is a boundary here on my table. Go to the keyboard and I see the keyboard because there was someone complaining about how hard it is to activate this VR mod. Yeah, and even I can do even in combination like that. I look into the headset, I look to the keyboard, press 0, nothing is working. I need to press the numpad button to activate the numpads. You should know what I'm meaning. And get sure that the gameplay windows is focused. It could be that when you activate the VR mod, the gameplay window is not focused again. So we start the VR mode pressing 0. I have a... Okay. I get distracted here by some glitches. So what is this? This is because I'm in a cover modus here, standing should we switch to first person? Should also talk about that maybe it's make it different when you activate the VR mode in third person or first person, but actually not. Back in the day there was no VR mods and they just start the VR mod without thinking about that. I don't know, there's no any information about that. I talk about that because I experience sometimes that the sound is not correctly anymore. There's a 3D sound. So some of this experimental, this is very experimental, two VR mods combined together. It could be also that was just the case when I use the Oculus modus, because there's recentering is very painful in Oculus modus. Yeah, Steam VR is actually an Oculus modus, not foreign. Yeah, I'm losing the topic again. Fuck this. I need to cut too much stuff out of the videos because I talk too much and this is annoying. So, the VR mode is running and it's like spacewalk. As long I don't touch the VR motion controller, I can turn with the mouse like that. Moment. The VR mode is not activated so far. Okay. It should be a 5-second video. I stop recording now and start again. It's so stupid. Maybe I can use a bit of the stuff that I talk. Yeah. You're there. You install all the mods. You copy my files, stuff like that. You're there, you see it's Luke Ross. You know Luke Ross already. I hope you play already Luke Ross mod. You know what you get. When you know the other VR mods, GTA 5, they was all crap in compared to Luke Ross. Luke Ross is clean. And I talk again too much. So, let's activate this fucking VR mod. And you know what? The gameplay window was not focused. Yeah, you're there and you activate the VR mod. And everything still looks clean. When you really copy my files, you don't have this sensitivity problem with looking up and down, just with looking left and right. I wish we can change this value, because then we could have no problems anymore. You would be able to use sniper rifles. You would be able. Okay, sniper rifle maybe not. I'm wrong. But driving could work with this high sensitivity modus, and you see that it's a high sensitivity modus because the HUD is not stay in position. You see the menu? This menu should be stand in the air, still in position. Because of this high hat-trick sensitivity, it's also unimmersive because of this. Because I was thinking about to use this while driving. This high sensitivity modus, that's how I call it. And you press. Anyway, the video is over. I'm recording right now. So what you can do now is, like I mentioned, pressing the Luke Ross hotkeys, and you hear this typical GTA 5 sounds. So, you press F11. Okay, sure, your gameplay window is focused. Whenever I press recording, it's not focused anymore. So you press F11. You activate the Lucross hotkeys. I will show a list in this video. So anyway, I press now O, the janky modus, the legacy modus. Yeah, it's also should be called legacy modus. This is how the VR mod always was back in the day. Not clean. Oh, so all problems are gone. So you can snipe with sniper rifles. You can directly jump into the vehicles. The camera stay in position, but it feels not clean anymore. And to describe the problem, when I look right, left, it's like there's latency. The hood is not staying in position, moving around. This should be not the case. And if I would have now my virtual reality boundary here, this boundary would also move around in this virtual environment. And this shouldn't be the case. In real VR, your boundaries stay in place with the virtual reality environment. Yeah. So when you look around, yeah, everything should stand still. And yes, this is not the case. Yeah, that's why we call it janky modus. Of course, it's playable, but this is not good VR. But it was good enough back in the day, 2017, 2016. And the first attempts with this mod, they don't use 3D because the PC was not strong enough back in the day. So, let me drink something. In 2016, the first version of this VR mod, the graphic cards was nothing in compare nowadays. A joke. How they try VR is a misery. This is hardware back in the day. There was probably no room scale. There was, yeah, I don't want to know. They don't use real 3D because it was just not possible. Too hardware intense. Yeah, this is the jank modus. That's why we call it the jank modus, the legacy modus. And if this modus would only work, yeah, now Lucross in combination with Google, I wouldn't celebrate this so much. I wouldn't make a big promotion. Hey, yeah, GTA 5 VR controller, because it is indeed special. Because there was never a way to play this virtual reality motion controller mod so clean. There was never a way to play this with real 3D Lucross style. Huh? And that's why it's still a big number to me that we can now enjoy a little bit GTA 5 with motion controls in a good way. So this is still the janky modus, and I think I talk already too much again. So we are back again, and now I'm demonstrating the key button. So you start the VR mod, you ended in this situation, you look right and left and see you. I can look further than I'm supposed to be. Mr. Gross, can you say me which files I need to change to get the right head track sensitivity now? Anyway, we press K, a loop cross option for cutscenes also, and this opens the cam. Also, when you just play loop cross and you press K, you open the camera for vehicles and cutscenes and like that. And this helps now. I press K now, bam. The hood stay now in position. When I move around, the hood stay completely in position where it's supposed to be. When I look right, left now, everything, this is really VR now. And yeah, with motion controls of course, and in Steam VR the weapon tracking is working. But there are many other problems I will talk about.
Seriously?
So you press K and you have this open vehicle camera. Everything is playable, it's fine, it's cool, but you need to mess around with this problem now. What you can do is press K again and go back to the high sensitivity modus. When you have no problem with that, because it still has this clean look gross flare. Only that you look right and left is a little bit. This can also be a benefit when you look behind you while driving. But it feels a little bit unimmersive, yeah? This is broken the VR feeling, this high sensitivity. It's not the case with up and down, everything is cool. Yeah. Or you press O and activate the janky modus and everything is like supposed to be. I'm still not sure which method is better. High sensitivity, looking around and while driving having the clean gross flare, or originality with the classic legacy jank flare. So to go more in detail, it's jittery when you look around. There's a little bit latency when you look right, left, stuff like that. Every little frame drop you will feel this with this legacy modus. I get this legacy modus more or less acceptable to run. The old version of this VR mod, motion controller mod with 72 FPS Steam Link modus, because Steam Link is like original Steam. It's like having a Steam VR headset. This was the only way to make this weird motion controller mod playable without 3D. Without 3D, ladies and
You
gentlemen.
look great.
And that's why we are celebrating today. We can play this now with Lucas 3D. So I want also to mention, when you try the Oculus modus, where you have no motion controls. You have motion controls, you have the weapon in the hand. When you start Oculus modus, you have your weapon in the hand, but no controls, no inputs, no Steam VR input is working.
Tell me why I'm waiting tables.
And you need to switch from Steam VR to GTA 5.
I meant to be an actress slash
GTA 5 is
singer
not
slash
running in
artist
Steam
slash
VR in Oculus modus. But Steam VR is still running
icon.
in the
I'm a
background.
dog walker slash waitress
Yeah, the
slash
Oculus modus.
dog.
Still very experimental, also playable, kinda. Hey, Angel, Adam, how's the stream going? So, It could be that you accidentally press J. And when you press J, you fucked up the entire VR mod. Because then you will change the horizon. At the moment, the game world floor is lined up with my real life floor. No matter what I do, when I press this recenter button, no matter in which direction I am looking when I press recenter, the game world floor is always lined up with my real life floor. But when you mess around with the J button, it could be that someone try my method and change the INI files and forget to copy my file or whatever. Sorry bro. That's what I mean. So I press J, and now when I just press the smooth turn, when I just press the smooth turn stick, I change the entire horizon. So when you come across this problem, you need just to press J. J is the button to fix this problem. This shouldn't be the case, and to test this, just use snap turn and look up and down and see if is this wrong recentering, then this shouldn't be the case. Also when I press now recenter, yeah, the horizon is wrong, so it's not VR anymore, what's going on. So to fix this, F11 and the hotkey J. You don't see the results directly, just press the smooth turn and you see, you press J and you use smooth turn and you see it's fixed. Okay. That's all what I need to mention about this button J. So back, recording session. So I will repeat myself now, because I explained this stuff already without recording. We're talking about now numpad 0. Numpad 0 is a problematic button, because we're using a method with two mods, and these mods are sharing the same button. It's overlapping. This button opens the menu, but also when the hotkeys are activated, F11, it changes the position of your weapon. It's actually deactivate positional tracking without this VR mod. There is still somehow positional tracking, but the weapons are not tracked correctly anymore. So when you come across this problem that the weapons are not tracked, you stand up or you move around. Rooms get like in your room, and the weapon is moving away from the motion controls. Get sure that you use the correct modus. And now the tricky part is you need to press F11 again to deactivate the loop ROS hotkeys, because when you close the menu, yeah, you activate this anyways. So you press F11, close the menu, and when you need the hotkeys, you activate it again. Yeah, that's it for numpad 0. That's changing the weapon position in Steam VR modus. So get sure that you use the right modus. The next thing is when you're The next thing is when you start trying to play a little bit seriously, try to start playing missions, you will come across the problem that the hood is often not in your view area. And there's also a button for this. It is backslash, not numpad backslash, the English keyboard. On German keyboard it's a different button, it's just a line on German keyboard, but the English version is the backslash button, the backslash, not the numpad backslash. It's also a Lucross hotkey for resettering. The numpad backslash we're talking about. Normal backslash change the hood position. Let me demonstrate. So what I do when I start playing, every time I need to press this or activate this, it's not saving. Unfortunately, it's not saving, and you can't also change the INI. You can't prepare the INI that this configuration is saved somehow. Yeah, anyway, we need to press buttons anyway, so whenever you start, you go all the buttons, so press F11, press K, press backslash, and then you're prepared and actually to go for a few hours and have fun. Yeah. So the hood stay now in position, as you can see.
Hey, remember me? It's Mama.
Alright, let me try to demonstrate. So I'm using right now the wrong method by myself. Zack, so let me stay in position. So what I'm demonstrating now is the camera is open, and you could think, yeah, Roman, I have quest, I can play wirelessly. Let me just turn physically. And when I was talking about motion sickness, some people prefer this here, open cam, because they don't get dizzy at all. So, but here's the thing. Positional tracking is not working correctly in a vehicle. I can't turn physically because, yeah, I can't. Something is totally wrong here, in cars at least. Let me recenter. Drive. As long as I stay in position, everything is cool. Let me turn around now. Physically. And everything is hooked up. And this is really a shame. So this solution will not work, so that you just turn physically. Let's test something before we move on. Open the menu, so we change now the positional tracking. Is it making it different?
Hey, let's meet up next week.
Yeah. Yeah, as you can see, physically turning in vehicles, not walking at all. And there's no smooth turn. The camera is open.
Let's go!
You can assign in SteamVR a recenter button. But this VR mode should have by default a recenter button. I need to stay on topic. There's not much to explain. Just here, look, it's not working. I can't turn physically. Let's move on. Back to topic. Let's talk about the bad input. I'm playing right now with my setup, so I have gamepad input on my touch controllers. It's like playing this gamepad more or less. Because of the motion controls, not all inputs are there, like smooth turn.
Hey, come on, please! You bastard!
There's no snap turner because it's a VR mod, but the right stick would not work if I would deactivate now the right stick input from the VR mod. So because of this VR mod, a few inputs are still not working. But the most of them are working. I really need to think which inputs are not working. It's probably just smooth turn, the entire right stick. So because I use my own method, so I switch now to default. Just so we can talk about the default settings. That's how you play it, because we don't have the virtual gamepad. Okay, so this should be now default virtuality inputs. This is the recenter button on the left side. The left menu button. These are Vive inputs. That means that the A buttons on your touch controllers are free. The Vive got less buttons back in the day. The first motion controllers missed 2 inputs. Yeah, anyway, there's no sidestep. Why I'm sidestepping right now? Why I'm doing the impossible right now? There's no sidestep. It was an hallucination, ladies and gentlemen. So, I hope you see my left hand here. How it works. You come across, oh, no side steps, you move just forward and backward. I'm just thinking what's going on. You hear shots right now, but they're not hunting me. It's a dangerous place. They're not hunting me. Wow. You actually steer with the entire hand. It's hand-orientated motion controls. That's how you can at least do side steps. The downside, it's hard to play with both hands together. Stack up controllers, that's how you call the VR gamers. Well, I think stack up controllers works kinda when you still try to steer somehow. Yes, it's really a pain to play without side steps. The best way to play is really one-handed and use the left controller for sidestepping. This is really a good way. Look, I tried to play with gun stock. So I used my gun stock, but I was not able to sidestep anymore because you need to use the left motion controller. You need to use the entire motion controller to steer left or right. This is simply not possible anymore when you stack your controller in a gun stock. Another problem, it's missing inputs. You can't enter vehicles. There's no enter the vehicle button by default. What the devil Opa want from you now, and this is really a weird decision, to teleport. Because you can deactivate this option. Why can you deactivate this option when you need this option to enter a vehicle? So you open the armored menu. It should be turned on for you, by the way. You need to activate 2 functions to make it really to work. Jump to teleport and use mod controls needs to be activated. Otherwise, it's somehow not working. What you can do now is the right button, the teleport button, is also there's even no jump button. Yeah, you can teleport now, right? You have the left trigger here and you can teleport now into the vehicles. But only in empty vehicles. It's because it's probably a part of the GTA 5 version, and back in the day you was forcing the NPC out of the vehicle when you do this here. But nowadays you end up as passenger, always. So you can't steal cars in a normal way. You need to get a driver out of the car like that or so. But this teleporting is a cool function, so you can be a passenger, and it's really interesting when you see cops. You can spectate cops doing their jobs, stuff like that.
See you at the next meeting.
And you can even use weapons in some vehicles. Oh, here it works. Did I steal the car? Also, you end up despawning vehicles when you teleport wrong, like that. Did you saw how the cars despawn? Disappear. I really have the feeling the driver get mad when you enter the cars as passenger, the vehicles. Really cool. This is really entertaining. You're talking about the control switch, so you need to teleport. At least when you play with Steam VR, you can smooth turn, snap turn. You sprint on the left stick. Yeah, this is also very hidden. But you can sprint, left stick. You steer like that, left stick. I think you need to hold the left stick.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah?
Hey, man.
Oh yeah, it's painful, guys. You need to hold the left stick. It's torturing your thumb a little bit. By default, it's really bad. But it was designed for Vive. And you was able to hold these buttons easy. Next thing, driving vehicles, man. We need to talk about the driving vehicles. It's a pain by default without virtual gamepod support. Did I forget something? Yeah, weapon changing. Press the right stick, of course. Press the right stick, yeah.
Oh, God.
How you drive in a car? Not with triggers. They're doing nothing. When you press the triggers, you end up teleporting and you despawn the vehicle. To drive, you press forward on the stick. Guess how to steer. Guess. Not with left and right. You steer with the entire motion controls, like that. So you can celebrate this or hate it. You can decide. You probably get used to this kind of steering, motion controller steering. I promise it's really hard. It's like it's too sensitive, the steering. Plus we have the open cam problem.
Man, look the fuck out.
The vehicle. Hey, someone is pushing me. Can see him. Can stop, it's fun already. Should just demonstrate short how you can steer with your hands.
Man, sorry about that.
It's cool, but you have no other option. The VR mod forces you to play like that. This is a problem. You will get used to it. It's also fun to drive like that. Okay, recentering works flawlessly when you really assign a Steam VR recenter button. I will show you in this video how to do this. Actually, you drive around the corner, press recenter,
Man, look the fuck out.
like that. Okay, let's move on. It's getting late. So here you have the VR mod inputs. So when you don't want to steer, so you get the virtual, for the case you get the virtual gamepad to work. I saw other YouTubers that did this method as well, also with GTA, with motion controls, by the way, but with the other GTA 5 VR mod. I lose topic again. Here you got the inputs. And when you don't like steering with hands, you can deactivate now the stick here. But you need to consider, you don't need to consider anything. When you have really the X input completely set, the entire gamepad function, you just can decide if you want to keep teleporting on the left trigger. But you need to change this. Why? Because you start driving now backward with the left trigger. You have now X input back on your touch controllers. You play the VR mod now with X input controls. That means you can now press forward, accelerate with right trigger, brake with the left trigger. And left trigger is also teleporting, so that means you leave the vehicle whenever you drive accidentally backward, or you are used to it to press this button. So that means you just deactivate teleporting in the VR mod menu. Also possible, because you can jump now, you have a jump button. Usually you have no jump button, no crouch button, no go and cover button. Only the necessary inputs are here, like changing the weapon. Using a vehicle is also on the thumbstick. I recommend to keep the right stick on, at least position, because you have smooth snap turn here. You want to keep this option on. This is a VR input that we need to keep on, so that we can use this snap turn option. Other than that, I delete almost all of these inputs and play now with X input controls, even Steam VR. So when we are here, how to assign a freaking good recenter button. Let me go to the standard version here. You go just to edit and you scroll here far to the right. This quick recenter button should be also helpful in other scenarios and games. And yeah, put it where you need it, where you think it's good. So A is printing. And U. So A is not a good button for recenter. Jumping also not good. But let me just demonstrate you can't really hide this function. You choose your button, go to more option, you choose long. The downside is, I mean, it's nice and hidden, but you see this green thing coming up. This should be optional. De-evolve, producer, developer, whatever. Nice to have. Oh, this input function. Yeah, whenever so I hold the button, I can recenter now.